Hello, everyone, and welcome to this session in our Global Impact Summit, East Asia edition. My name's Maria Spies. I'm the co-CEO of Holland IQ, and I am very excited about this session. Today, I would like to introduce you to Sohee Shin. Sohee is the CEO of the Education Commission Asia and doing some absolutely amazing work in the region and globally, all in the area of high-touch, high-tech for all learning. So welcome, and thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you so much, Maria, and it's my really pleasure, and I'm very honored to speak at this summit. Thank you.
Great. I know that over our couple of years of working together and knowing each other, you in particular and the Education Commission Asia have been really doing some absolutely fabulous work. I know that the audience will be super excited to listen to all your initiatives, and no doubt you'll be flooded with many questions. And so firstly, for this session, we're going to do, Sohee is going to take us through some of those initiatives with a 15-minute presentation, and then we're going to follow up after with a Q&A between ourselves. So I'm looking forward to that. But let me hand over to you, Sohee, to start with the presentation.
Sure. So thank you again, Maria, for the great introduction. So hello everyone, I'm Sohee Shin, and I'm very delighted to speak at the Holland IQ Global Impact Summit. So today, I'd like to introduce who ECA is and what we do to transfer learning to achieve inclusive and quality equitable learning for all. And we call the mission High Touch, High Tech for All. Okay, so Education Commission Asia is the Asia hub of the Education Commission, which is a global initiative encouraging progress on SDG 4. So EC is chaired by Gordon Brown, the UN Special Envoy for Global Education and former Prime Minister of UK. And EC comprises 26 commissioners, and they are current and former heads of state and government ministers, and 3 Nobel laureates and leaders in the fields of education, business, and development, etc. So they decided to have its first hub in Asia, and Juho Lee, one of the commissioners, founded the Education Commission Asia in Seoul in 2020. So ECA is very mission-oriented organization. So in the era of artificial intelligence, we face a very profound and important question. How do we define humanity and its role? And we believe the answer to this question lies in education. And High Touch, High Tech for All is ECA's answer to catalyze the learning revolution. So first, we advance a vision. So for High Touch, High Tech for All as a core policy to narrow down the educational gaps and inequities. And second, we implement and evaluate projects to find the most effective solutions by bringing together various actors, including schools and other institutions, tech companies, and governments, and civil society, etc., to expand the High Touch, High Tech for All. And thirdly, we build a global platform that supports the design, experimentation, expansion of High Touch, High Tech for All. And lastly, we'd like to provide the support for Korea's leadership in contributing to a global learning transformation with this Korea's accumulated experience and expertise in High Touch, High Tech for All. So what is High Touch, High Tech for All? So let me briefly introduce the High Touch, High Tech vision first. So there is a saying that 20th century teachers teach 21st century students in the 19th century classrooms. So the traditional education model where all students receive standardized education has failed millions of children around the world. And High Touch, High Tech enables us to move away from every student receiving the same lessons at the same time, at the same speed, to each student receiving personalized lesson at the right time, at their own speed. And that's the vision of the High Touch, High Tech. So to explain the High Touch, High Tech learning approach, we utilize Benjamin Bloom's objectives of Bloom's taxonomy. So the goal of an education using Bloom's taxonomy is to encourage higher order thought and skills in their students by building up from lower level cognitive skills. So in fact, in many classrooms, especially in Korea, students learning at schools is limited to remembering and understanding for many reasons. Teachers' time and effort is mostly focused on their lower level of learning, so not reaching a higher level of learning, applying, analyzing, evaluating, creating. So what is the best way to use technology for that? And from the Vietnam High-Touch High-Tech pilot project, which I will explain the result at the next page, what we have discovered is that high-touch high-tech component with adaptive system is very effective in providing fundamental educational instruction, helping students remember and understand materials at their right level. So while in class, teachers can lead interactive learning, enabling students focus on a higher level of learning by applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. So with this adaptive technology tailoring instruction to individual student needs and levels, teachers now can provide personalized guidance using those students' learning data. Free from the burdens of delivering knowledge, teachers now can focus on more fostering students' high-level skills such as creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, and communication. So with this impressive result, so Vietnam prototype, this one, so I'd like to introduce the impact of the High-Touch High-Tech Vietnam project. So we tested High-Touch High-Tech for grade 7 math and for one semester. Math scores increased dramatically, showing learning gains equivalent to 2 years worth of learning in just one semester. So the gains were greater for lower performing students, suggesting that high-touch high-tech can be a solution to solve the learning gap. So teaching outcomes were also remarkable. So we observed a great improvement in personalized teaching practices, greater collaboration among teachers, and significant improvements in teachers' ability to motivate students. So with this such impressive results in Vietnam, ECA has launched 3 domestic consortiums and 1 global consortium under the broader mission to provide high-touch high-tech for all. And they are K12 Consortium, University Consortium, Startup Consortium, and the Global Consortium. So in Korea, we have already seen over 10,231 K12 students and 12,847 college students have benefited from these consortiums. Within just 2.5 years, these consortiums have grown to include 8 local governments and 26 universities and colleges, as well as numerous other educational institutions. So let me briefly introduce the 4 high-touch high-tech consortiums from now and their achievements for each. So first, it's a K12 consortium. So the K12 consortium is aimed at helping Korea's underprivileged students, including those from low-income or multicultural families and North Korean refugees. These students are in desperate need of human connection with teachers, including care and mentoring, as well as personalized learning necessitated by their often lower achievement levels and difficulty in keeping pace with other students. So for high-tech, we provide students with AI-based adaptive courseware to each student. For high-touch, we train volunteer college students or village teachers as mentors to give students not only academic learning guidance, but also emotional counseling based on students' individual learning data. Lastly, for impact evaluation, we analyze students' learning data and also habits through observation, and then we evaluate their academic achievement and also their satisfaction through surveys. So I'd like to introduce some of the results from K12 Consortium. One is Seocho District AI Smart Schooling Program. We have supported 686 underprivileged students in this project. The results show not only students' academic achievement went high, but also the survey results show that the program participation improved learning attitudes and confidence in understanding the course content, solving complex problems, and enhancing future learning prospects. And this is Gyeongsangbuk Province online teaching program. And we have supported 64 elementary school students at child care facilities in Gyeongsangbuk Province for 10 months. As a result, children who participated in the project improved their grades in both Korean and math subjects compared to those who did not participate, reducing the burden on learning and increasing the interest of their learning. And this is the Heavenly Dream School model. And this is a school for North Korean defectors who have difficulty keeping up with the regular curriculum due to their low basic educational level. So using AI-based courseware in regular and extra curriculum classes, together with teachers' well-planned high-touch teaching design, the students had not only high academic achievement, but also growth in their affective aspects. This is Gwangyang City AI Robot Tutor Program. So this is the first high-touch, high-tech project. We use AI robot as high-tech, and the purpose of this project is to improve the children's creativity and the quality of care services while reducing teachers' workload by providing play-oriented activities with AI tutor robot. It's called Alpha Mini, and we plan to do impact evaluation in this December. And this is called High-Touch High-Tech Classroom Revolution. So this pilot is very meaningful in that High-Touch High-Tech has finally entered the classrooms of public schools. So we did this project this spring semester for 15 schools, targeting 1,500 students. So from this project, we learned that teachers' digital and technological competence is one of the most crucial factors to running effective class and enhancing the student performance. And teachers are very sensitive to their time and effort in accepting new technologies in classroom. Therefore, it's very necessary to give them sufficient incentives, such as high-quality teacher training, clear guidance, material, and mental compensation to induce their active participation. And based on these lessons, we are preparing the next round of high-touch, high-tech classroom revolution in March next year with more schools. Now, I'd like to introduce our second consortium, University Consortium. So Korea is trying to achieve digital innovation across universities in line with the world. And High-Touch High-Tech Consortium is leading the way in Korea. As the year goes by, high-touch, high-tech approach is being applied to lectures in various subjects now, and the learning model continues to evolve. So almost 26 high-touch, high-tech University Consortium members, I'd like to introduce the most leading universities case in terms of building the high-touch, high-tech university innovation model. They are AJU University, and we call them the high-touch, high-tech champion university. So they used high-touch, high-tech model for several subjects, but what I want to introduce is the subject statistics and probability, and they used the AI courseware, Alex, and their teaching method is blended learning and flipped learning. This is some results of effectiveness verification. So academic achievement for the above average distribution for the experimental group went up about 8% from 22.4% to 30%, while the traditional group went down about 5% from midterm to final. And also for the top 25 distribution, it also has the similar pattern. And for the bottom 25 distribution, it has the opposite pattern. Also, when you look at the curriculum review survey, it's that the students who studied with the Alex, they had higher active participation in class, and also they had higher self-directed learning, also self-efficacy and learner's interest. Okay, so now I'd like to move to our third consortium, which is a startup consortium. So High-Touch High-Tech Startup Consortium facilitates the development of high-tech learning, which is one of the key engines driving the learning revolution by nurturing an ecosystem of innovation and growth among edtech startups. So the consortium connects each companies with teachers, schools, and investors, and providing opportunities to test innovative ideas and scale for impact. our last consortium, global consortium. So as an ongoing project in Uruguay, partnering with the Inter-American Development Bank, Plan Stable, which is Uruguay's presidential organization for edtech-based learning, ECA is targeting 97 schools and 159 teachers and 3,700 primary secondary level students. And students in this project use AI-based adaptive learning software such as Matific and RoboGarden and participate in project-based learning for the math and computational thinking subject. And the impact evaluation will be ready in 2023. So ECA is also actively seeking for opportunities to spread high-touch high-tech worldwide. So currently, ECA sees this chance in Indonesia, Philippines, Cambodia, Ghana, and Vietnam. And lastly, I'd like to introduce ECA's platform. So every year we host the High-Touch High-Tech Teachers Summit featuring the main 3 sessions. So this year we had the summit in September. So in 2022, first, during the discussion between high-level education policymakers and teachers, we invited 6 superintendents from 6 main provinces and also teachers. So they shared various opinions and plans for spreading high-touch high-tech in Korea. And second, during the masterclass presentation, 15 K12 teachers presented their innovative class models where they designed and they operated learner-centered, adaptive learning experience using high-tech such as metaverse, VR, AR, AI-based tools. And lastly, during the teacher training, ECA aimed to provide teacher training about how to use technology to achieve meaningful learning effect with high touch. So moving forward, ECA will use this foundational framework, analyze, act, and amplify to spread further high-touch high-tech in Korea and abroad. And I hope I can explain it more during our discussion. And this ends my presentation here. And thank you for listening.
Sohi, thank you so much. That was fantastic, really great. There's so many things I love about this initiative, and let me just summarize a few of them. One is that, firstly, to make material innovation and positive change in education at scale is not easy, number one. It isn't easy. And individual initiatives often don't make it through because they just don't get to scale. But this design pulls together all the different parts of the ecosystem, whether it be policymakers, teachers, schools, ed tech, learners, probably parents. And that is a very impressive way to take things forward. And, you know, it's rare that you see such ability to take something and bring the whole ecosystem together. I can imagine, firstly, I want to ask you about, you know, the sort of, you've got so many initiatives going on to bring the ecosystem together, and how, you know, what were the challenges of that? Initially, what was the reaction to that? Were people just so relieved to have an organization to bring stakeholders together, or were they wary? What was the reaction to that sort of approach?
Yeah, so their reaction, especially in Korea, because especially the school and education area is very conservative. And especially school in Korea is considered as very sacred place. So of course the resistance is very high. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's why we really have to work in a like foundational framework. That's I'm introducing at this last page. So this is the framework, foundational framework to spread high touch, high tech.
Yes.
So we need to really find the bedrock for high touch, high tech model. And so, yeah, so actually these 3 pillars are the key, our strategic step forward. So let me go one by one here. So for analyze, we actually really synthesize the evidence and the best practice innovations that can really combine the use of technology with the transformation of how teachers teach. So in that way, we can really provide them with as I said, the bedrock of high-touch, high-tech model. And then actually these three pillars doesn't really go in order. These things are just carried out at the same time.
Yes.
So for ACT pillar, ACT stage, we have many projects going on. So we really try to work with the governments, local governments and national governments or foreign governments. So in that way, we can assess the feasibility test and then just evaluate the approaches in different contexts using like a system approach. So in that way, we can assess the ecosystem for the introduction of high-touch, high-tech. So to develop these individualized path to scale. So so we really like to develop in this amplify pillar. It's very important where we facilitate global learning and action actually to drive adoption of high-touch, high-tech approaches across the context. So so it's very important to develop a global like platform, like global conference where you also participated last year, high-touch global conference. So we can really gather those stakeholders together so they can really share their knowledge and insights, their opinions, and also we can facilitate collaboration together to ideate and share those ideas and to scale high-touch, high-tech model together. So we really think these three pillars are very important to scale them up.
Absolutely. You said something, I mean, throughout your presentation, there was a couple of things that struck me. One is for all the high tech, there was a lot of words that were very human. And so you talked about teachers a lot and supporting learners in emotional ways as well as academically. And also, the focus on the pedagogy actually, of course, is the most important, because without that, you've got nothing in teaching and learning, in education. And so coming at it from that pedagogy, the combination of pedagogy and technology, I think, of course, is a recipe for success. But one of the things that you mentioned a minute ago was the potential for changing pedagogy is changing some part of one's practice as a teacher that you've been doing for a long time, and you're good at it and you know it and you're confident, and so changing that is a threat sometimes. And so it sounds like you, through good evidence and through projects, but if you were to give any advice to somebody else who was thinking about some similar sort of projects and how to bring the teachers on board, and what are the key elements of supporting teachers and incentivizing. I think you used the word incentivize. What are the things that you would advise them to do or not to do?
Yeah, actually, if I say the example of Korean situation, in Korea, in the current educational field, there is one device, digital device like tablet or notebook, is being distributed to each student. So, so one device for one student is becoming a policy in all local government. Yeah. So various edtech products, including AI courseware, is being distributed slowly, but at schools. So that's why we believe this is the right time, that the best environment we can really adopt the high-touch, high-tech model at schools. So this is really, we think this is the time. However, the professional coaching for teachers is very important. So they can effectively integrate technology into their classroom instruction. And piloting is also very important. But so I think many school leaderships, not only in Korea, but also in other countries, I'm sure that many school leaderships and teachers, they are looking for various class design samples, the cases, the models that can integrate students' learning that occurs in the edtech itself and students' learning through classes at school. So I'm sure they are looking for the cases they can follow. That's the high-touch, high-tech instructional design models, I can say. But there are not currently many available. because there was no professional coaching for that. So there's not many teachers who can really create those innovative class design. So therefore, in Korea, despite the distribution of one device for each student, and the EdTech products has been distributed in schools, but there hasn't been real educational effect yet.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the situation. So
Yeah.
I would say that. So actually, as I explained, the revolution. The Hypothetic Classroom Revolution project I introduced earlier. So we help teachers to design the hypothetic class, and then we train them to understand the learning process using AI courseware, and also the new role of teachers to improve students' learning outcomes using those learning data. So we have to train them. So also sufficient incentives are very important too, to induce their active participation, to motivate them to jump in this new innovative model of learning and teaching. So the outcomes of the high-touch, high-tech classroom revolution are the various high-touch, high-tech class design cases. So so we can share those excellent cases with many other teachers and schools for their application, so that they can have real educational effect using those technology.
Right. So having practical examples of how it works in other contexts helps people to visualize how they could also design. Okay. And by the sounds of it, a mass approach to capacity building. You're building capacity through these initiatives in teachers. And then once it takes hold at the grassroots level, then the idea, of course, is that it will take up and off on its own without the, once it becomes more part of the culture. So yeah, that capacity building definitely, and just practical examples. I mean, seemingly simple things, but important, very important things.
Yeah.
I have one last question for you. Believe it or not, we're almost at time. So I just have one last question because, and it has to do with scaling. And so, from 0 to 10, from 10 to 100, that sort of, how do we take your ideas and plans? I mean, amplify, of course, is one of your pillars there. How do you plan, or what's your thinking in terms of taking a range of pilots and initiatives and then scaling them to sort of national level? Is that through working with government, like you said, and policy, and what about in other countries? Tell me about how those plans are.
Yeah, so as I explained, so we have 4 high-touch, high-tech consortiums. So we will keep working on those 4 consortiums. They pretty much comprises the actors for the ecosystem, for the innovation. So yeah, we will keep collecting those evidence-based the research results, and also we keep doing our projects domestically and also internationally. And then we will do our platform business, which is every year we host global conference. Last year we had a global conference, but this year we had a global conference, but more domestically. We call this time Teachers Summit. So
Okay.
So over 800 teachers, they came to the offline, and also we did virtually at the same time, and we had great feedback. So we are thinking of opening it next year in a bigger venue. So we'll do so those 3 pillars: analyze, act, and amplify, will work together. And then so as a global consortium, we are now approaching the funders for Indonesia and Cambodia and the Philippines and Ghana. So following Vietnam and Uruguay, we will also keep making those cases the successive stories of high-touch, high-tech journey. And then stacking all those evidence up. So evidence-based high-touch, high-tech model will be more ready and available, and then we will share them through our platform. So more education field can join.
Yes. So it grows upon itself as it happens. And I think you made a very good point there a second ago, which was at the core of these initiatives is really solid evidence of outcomes, which is what people are looking for in education, and which is often absent from these types of initiatives. And so that sort of solid evidence all the way along is hard to argue with. And particularly, for example, if any resistance from teachers or so on, they want the best for their students. They want outcomes, and when they can see it making a difference, then they have a try at least to become part of it and try new things that obviously are having a positive impact on learning outcomes, which is just wonderful. So that's fantastic. So thank you so much for sharing your work of the Education Commission Asia, not only in Korea, but also I didn't realize in many countries and many different geographies. And so, it's wonderful to watch this journey, and we look forward to connecting again. Of course, if anyone's interested in connecting with Tohi, it's easy to do so through the Education Commission Asia website or on LinkedIn or any other social media. This is very impressive work, and congratulations on what you've done to date, and we look forward to continuing to see that wonderful journey and those outcomes for students.
Sure. Thank you so much. It was my pleasure, and really thank you for inviting us and introduce our work. Thank you.
Thanks, Zoe, and thank you, everyone. We'll catch you at the next session. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.